I want to welcome you again to the Wednesday night Bible class for the Stonecrest Church of Christ. The privilege is ours each Wednesday night to be able to come into your homes, your places of abode, your workplace, some even as you are traveling with messages that are predicated upon the divine, inspired, inerrant, and infallible Word of God. We want you to know how appreciative we are for your loyal and dedicated following on our Bible classes each Wednesday night, wherever you are in these United States. We want you to know that we are indeed grateful. Before our Bible study tonight, we would call your attention again to our upcoming Issachar Conference. That's being held May 10th through May 14th. Our theme this year is undivided. We are basing that theme upon a text of scripture in in Psalms 86, verse number 11, where the psalmist says, "Teach me your way, O Lord, and I will live by your truth. Give me an undivided heart to fear your name." We have invited a cadre of speakers, both men and women, from across our great brotherhood and our great fellowship to be able to share with you workshops and lectures and just good old fashioned preaching on our theme, Undivided. You can view this conference at no charge to you simply by going to our webpage, StonecrestIssacharConference.com. While there is no charge for the conference, we ask that you do register that we may have a record of your viewing. And then we ask that you give a donation. The donation will be largely given to charities of mine, to missions of mine. First of all, the Medical Mission Ministry, led by Dr. Leonardo Gilbert out of the Southside Church of Christ in Chicago, Illinois, where they take a mission team several times a year over to Haiti with medical supplies, with medical training. Doctors and nurses go over and minister to uh, the wonderful people in Haiti several times a year. And then the other uh, uh, charity of mine and ours is Southwestern Christian College in Terrell, Texas, our only African American college and university in congregations of churches of Christ from the African American perspective. Dr. Singster is the capable and competent president of our academic institution. Our church has set up a scholarship in my honor and the honor of my wife, Shirley. So when you give your donations, it will be funneled to one or two, or both, not one or two, but both of these two entities. And so we ask that you give generously by going to our website again, StonecrestIssacharConference.com. And then again, the conference will convene May 10 through May 14th. You can view it on our website, on our church website, on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and all of it is StonecrestIssacharConference.com. And once the program begins, if you are registered, you will be notified that the program is about to begin. That's why we encourage you to register. And we thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation and participation. Now, we're still looking at plate number 10. from Exodus chapter 11 and Exodus chapter 12. Uh, the plague number 10 is going to be uh, tragically the death of the firstborn in Egypt, both man and beast. Uh, but before uh, God takes the final plague on the Egyptian empire, in Exodus chapter 11, verses 1 through 3, particularly at Exodus chapter 11, God says to Moses, one more plague I'm going to send upon the Egyptian empire. And then he outlines what that plague is going to be. But before the plague comes, listen to me carefully. Before the plague comes, God instructs Moses to do something, to tell the children of Israel to do something. I'm going to read these three verses to you from Exodus 11, 1 through 3. And tonight, um, I'm going to be talking to you from this notion. Listen to it carefully. Favor that funds the freedom. Favor that funds the freedom. It'll make sense in just a second. What I'm talking to you about is, as you can see on the screen, the graphic on the screen, watch this. When God funds your future. Okay, lean in. Let me give you some historical background again. The children of Israel have been slaves and captives in Egypt for 430 years, according to Exodus chapter 12 and verse number 40. For 430 years, they have been oppressed, they have been captive, they've been made slaves, they've been treated with great indignity and great inhumanity. They've been treated like uh, uh, animals. Their uh, firstborn son was placed on the chopping blocks. They were placed in the Nile rivers for them to drown because of a systemic system of racial hatred pressed upon them by the Egyptians. So now, after all of that, God says to Moses, one more plague. But before I send the plague, remember the last several weeks, I've been talking about payday for your pain. But tonight, I want to talk about what happens when God, watch this, there's two things. Number one, when God burns your freedom. And number two, when God funds your future. Watch this. Lean in. Look what is about to happen. Look what. Look at the graphic on the screen. God can make the oppressor finance your future and your exit from Egypt. Oh, teach Bible tonight, Dr. Barclay. I'm going to do the best that I can. After 430 years, God says, not only am I going to give you a payday for your pain, I'm going to make Pharaoh finance not only your freedom, I'm going to make him finance your future. Ooh, uh, because God can make the oppressor finance your future and your exit before you leave Egypt. I'm going to send the death of the firstborn, but I've got to make sure that before midnight comes and before the angel of death comes, you get paid for your pain. Your future is going to be funded, and your freedom that you've been working for 430 years, I'm going to set you free. But I'm not going to let you go empty handed. You have a future out there. These people have stolen your place, but I'm determined they will not steal your preach, boy. They will not steal your future. Now they've stolen your past for 430 years. They've enslaved you. They've oppressed you. They've worked you like a dog. But I'm going to make them pay for it. Not only are they going to pay for it, I'm going to make Pharaoh and Egypt finance what's ahead of you. Oh, watch this. Watch how this unfolds. Exodus 11, verse number 1. Now the Lord said to Moses, one more plague. I will bring on Pharaoh and on Egypt. And after that, he will let you go from here. And when he lets you go, he will surely drive you out from here completely. And then Exodus 11:2, our preaching text tonight, he says, speak now into the hearing of the people, that each man ask from his neighbor, and each woman from her neighbor for articles of silver. Remember these now. Remember these materials. Ask from them articles of silver, articles of gold, and clothing. Now, remember what they were asked to ask for. I'll unfold it for you in the minutes ahead. The text says, and the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Favor is grace. Grace is undeserved. God took the hearts of the people who had been oppressing God's people, and God softened their heart. God opened their heart. God gave his people favor. The people who looked upon them with disgust and disdain, God now calls those same people to look at his people with favor and appreciation. Isn't our God an awesome God? That's a good place in the chat to write. Our God is an awesome God. The Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Furthermore, the man Moses himself was great esteem in the land of Egypt. Now, Pharaoh didn't care anything for him. In fact, Pharaoh had already told him in the last plague that if I see you again, I'm going to kill you on sight. Moses looked at him and said in the essence, speak to the hand. Oh, it's going to be some killing. It's going to be some dying. When the two of us get together again, it's going to be at the Red Sea. And so Moses is going to say, in essence, to Pharaoh, buddy, at the sea, you go and die. You're right. When you see me again, oh, you think it's not going to be good for me, but the reality is not going to be good for you. So the people of Egypt esteem him highly, both in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of the people. In fact, you'll remember in an earlier plague, the servants of Pharaoh told him, said, listen, uh, that man alone. He's already destroyed our land. He's destroyed our economy. He's destroyed our crops. He's destroyed our hospitals. Uh, uh, let them go. Let him go. Let him alone. So his servants and the people esteemed him. But because of Pharaoh's pride, he hated Moses. Now I want you to watch this. Let's get into it. In many black communities, people know what it is to work the job, do the overtime, carry the weight, and still get shorted in pay, in credit, and promotion. People know what it is to be the last one hired and the first one fired. We know what it is to be looked over for promotion. Skill set better than anybody else on the job. What's so interesting to me, we just saw it in the President Trump administration. Remember when uh, Ketanji Jackson was placed on the Supreme Court by former President Biden? Remember what was said about her? It was said that she was a DEI. Implication, she was only placed there because she was black. She was only given that high esteem position because of the color of her skin. There were others, they were arguing, more qualified, who just didn't happen to be black. But just last week, the senator from Oklahoma, his name escapes me right now, was made head of the department where the former head was the former governor in one of the western states. Um, Utah, Montana, one of those westerns. Her name was Kristi Noem. She was fired by the president. And this gentleman was hired. Well, for what? Well, he didn't have a college degree. Say, wait a minute, you're talking about the United States Senator. Doesn't have a college degree. But Miss Jackson, graduate of Harvard, two doctoral degrees, and yet she was a DEI hire. Implication, only got the job because of the color of her skin, and yet here is someone with no degrees now placed in a high governmental office over a tremendous department of it's the immigration department, whatever Somebody write it in the chat. It just won't come to me right now. Uh, we, we know what it's like. We know what it's like for the former Vice President, Kamala Harris, where folk couldn't even pronounce her name. No. Would not pronounce her name as she was running for the presidency of the United States. Said, DEI, in other words, less than qualified. And it's so interesting that that for administration, who's talking about, well, people ought to be hired on the basis of meritocracy. They, the most skilled one ought to get the job. Isn't that interesting? That the vice president has a law degree. uh, the Supreme Court justice shouldn't have had a law degree, graduated with honors from the most esteemed colleges and universities in our country. And yet somehow she still doesn't merit it because of the color of her skin. So we know what it is to work the job, have the skills, do the overtime, carry the weight, train people under us. And the ones we train become supervisors over us. We know what it means to, to be the last hired and the first fired. We know what it means to be the only one like us sitting on certain boards. That's my experience. We know what it is uh, to go to schools of higher learning, make the grade, graduate summa cum laude, and still be treated less than. It's God's people for 430 years, oppressed, enslaved, humiliated, and yet, watch the screen. Don't move it from the screen. God says, I saw the label. I heard the groans. I'm answering. And I'm answering with more than just sympathy. You are going to get paid for your pain. And I'm going to make your oppressor finance not only your freedom, he's going to finance your future. Now, I don't want you to somehow to think that because God tells the children of Israel to go in there and ask for these things, that they went in there and they raided them. Look at the graphic on the screen. This is not a raid. This is not revenge. This is redemption. Oh, let me say that again. This is not a raid. Th they're not looting. This is not revenge. This is redemption. This is God ordered justice. Israel isn't raiding. They are asking under God's direction. Watch this. They ain't grabbing folk by the collar. They ain't stealing. They're not looting. They're not raiding. God has opened up the hearts of the Egyptians. And God says to Israel, all you have to do now is just ask. Because They will give you anything you ask for. They're going to open up the jewelry uh, cabinet. And folks, let me say this while it's on my mind. Uh, this ain't about jewelry. This is about justice. Teach Bible Barclay. This is not about jewelry. He should go in there and ask for articles of silver, articles of gold, clothing. Uh, this is not just about jewelry. This is about justice. Israel isn't raiding, they are asking under God's direction. And God gave them favor. You see, the moral force comes from God's judgment on a person. Oh, you need to buckle up right now. You need to buckle up. Buckle up your seatbelts. Ride is about to get rocky. Now we're gonna land there, but it's gonna get rocky right through here. So be hard headed. Buckle up. Lean in. Listen to what I'm about to say. Oh, please keep that graphic on the screen. Marcus, lead dog for a minute or so. I want you to watch it. Don't move that right now. I want you to watch this. God often puts something in your hand before he takes something from your life. Let let me run that thought bomb by you again. Watch this. This is Exodus 11 too. Ask them for articles of silver. Ask them for articles of gold. He's telling Moses to tell his people, go in there, ask them for these things. Why? Because God often places something in your hand before he asks something from your life. Okay. Just get through with me. God often places before he asks for anything in return. Oh, this is about to get good right through here. I want listen. Look at the graphic on the screen. I gotta stretch it. I gotta stretch it. I gotta pull on you. Oh, okay. I'm gonna back it up. Um, I'm gonna say it to you again. God often puts something in your hand before he asks something from your life. Before God ever asks you, watch this, to give something to him and to his cause, watch this. Before he asks you to give him something, God gives you something to give back to him. God does not ask you for what you do not have. He will ask you to return to him what he's given to you. Glory. I'm about to stretch it. I want you to watch this. Watch the graphic on the screen. Mm. Provision precedes participation. The late Brother Ford would holler out right about now. Say what? God provides before he asks you to participate. Hmm. God provides before he asks you to participate. Let me ask you some questions. What did God provide before he ever gave any commands? I mean, to trace this throughout the Bible, you can go all the way back to the Garden of Eden. Before God ever asked Adam and Eve to do anything, what did God do? God provided for them tree of life. He said, of all of the trees in the garden, thou mayest freely eat. He said, the tree in the middle of the garden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, don't eat of that tree. That's a command. Don't eat of that tree. For the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. But look what God had to. And I hear folk more times that say, Doctor, God stopped them from that tree. Man, that's the right question. Look at all of the trees God provided. Now, God didn't have one tree. I get it why you don't want me to touch that tree. Uh, but go back and read the story. God provided the trees of the Garden of Eden. And there was only one tree that he told them you cannot have access to. Watch this. What did God give the Israelites first before he ever asked for anything in return? Watch this. Did he open the Egyptians' heart and favor the Israelites? He says, go in, bless the lady for the jewelry, bless the man for the work tools, uh, ask him for the gold, ask him for the silver, ask him for the bronze, ask him for the cloth, ask him for the materials. Watch this. This is Exodus 11. What? Ooh, this thing about God never asked anything in return from them until Exodus 25. Ooh. And when he in Exodus 25, listen to what I'm about to say to you. He doesn't command. He asks for voluntary gifts. But he only asked for what he gave them. Oh my goodness. You got a slow walk through here. I I got a slow walk through here, and I gotta ask you to uh, pull up your pants legs, get your boots out, because we got to walk through some deep waters here. Because we have too many people in the Lord's church whose hearts are closed to the request from God, but they want their hearts open to what God chooses to give. Um, I wanted to teach our sons a lesson in generosity when they were small boys. Shirley and I lived out in the Southern California. Some of you have heard me tell the story before, others have not. Just act like you have never heard it. We lived 10 or 12 miles from the church building in inner city, Los Angeles. We lived out in a suburb called Carson. And I heard them and overheard them fighting over a toy that I had wanted to teach them a lesson. And so on the way from our church building to our home, there's an ice cream parlor. I mean, they sell all different kinds of ice cream. And so I stopped and I bought them 3 scoops. Um, I bought my wife, got her a couple of scoops, and I had 1 scoop. And they said, "Oh, David, thank you for stopping at Baskin and Robbins and buying us this ice cream. Man, we should do it for no problem, son." Um, on the way home, I didn't even drive the speed limit. I drove slow. My 1 scoop, real quick. Still have 2.5 scoops. They're just back there licking and enjoying the ice cream. And I watched them, and then all of a sudden, uh, having eaten up mine, uh, turned to them and he said, "Fellas, uh, give Daddy a lick." And remember, I bought them 3 scoops. I'd eat mine. They got 2.5 scoops left. I said, "Give Daddy a lick." And like little boys do, they took uh, their cone uh, with a gesture toward me and said, "No." And when they said their 2.5 scoops fell to the floor. And then they start crying. Said, "Mommy, look at what Daddy made us do." Said uh, to my wife, "Mommy, it's coming down the aisle. Go back to Baskin and Robbins, some more ice cream." And she looked at me as if she didn't ask. She didn't ask. But it was the look like, "Honey, let's turn around and go back." Now, she didn't ask because she knew I was up to something. And sure enough, I was. And I said to them, "No, I will not go back to Baskin and Robbins and buy you some additional ice cream only for you to say no to the one who provided it." I went for was a lick because I'm trying to teach them to share their resources, their toys with one another. We were not, folk, I'm sorry, we were not able to buy both of them the same toy. We were poor. No, we were poor in those days. So they had to share, and they didn't want to share. Isn't it amazing how We don't want to share with the one who gave us everything that we have. Isn't it amazing? Oh, my time is running, so let me see if I can get a little more of this in here. Watch this. Provision precedes participation. You get the graphic I have on the screen. In Exodus 11, God provides the resources. Before Israel ever received instruction, God is going to ask these people to build for him a sanctuary, that is a tabernacle. Watch this. So he could dwell among them. And God, oh, watch this. God is going to ask them the stuff, the materials, the gold, the silver, the bronze that I gave to you in Egypt before you left. Let me have some of it to construct a meeting place that I may dwell among you. Ooh, y'all need to hear. Y'all need to hear Brother Man on this one. So God already moved to place resources in their hands. That is not accidental. God often provides. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. God often provides resources and places the resources in the hands of people. Watch this. Before he fully explains why. See, Israel did not yet know all the details of Exodus 25. Watch this. But God knew. I gave it to them. Because God knew he was going to ask for some of it back. But he could not ask for it had he not already placed it in their hands. Oh my goodness. Watch the sequence. In Exodus 11, God transfers wealth, and not just wealth, generational wealth. It's Exodus 11. Exodus 12, Israel leaves with generational wealth. But in Exodus 25, God reveals the purpose of why he gave them the resources. And watch this. God didn't command it. I'm going to show it to you next week. I'm all out of time this week. Uh, God didn't command it. He says, give with a willing heart voluntarily. He didn't mandate it. He didn't stipulate it. He didn't command it. God says, listen, I freely gave you all of those resources before you left Egypt. I want to dwell in your midst. In order for me to do that, you have to construct for me the tabernacle. And some of the people said, No will do. Now, thank God there were a lot of folk who graciously gave to God some of the silver, some of the gold, some of the bronze. All right, all right. Uh, Two more slides. I bid you good night. Number one, watch this. The silver and gold they received from Egypt were not merely back pay for years of oppression, they were also advanced provision for the worship of Yahweh. Oh, my goodness gracious. See, the silver and gold wasn't just payday for the pain. It was that, but it was also something else. It was advanced provision for the worship of God. Remember, in each of those plagues, God said to Moses, tell Pharaoh, watch this, let my people go, peace clause, so that they may serve me. I, I don't just want them to be free. I want their freedom, but I want their worship. I want their service. So I want to get them out of here so that they may worship and serve me. Let me introduce this to you, and I'll pick it up next week. Oh my goodness. I want you to see what I just put on the screen up there. I want you to see this flash, this thought bar. Watch this, friend. Oh, glory. God often supplies ahead of schedule for what he has scheduled ahead. I wish I had 2 hours just explain that to you. Let me read it for you. I'll explain it to you next week. God often, God often supplies ahead of schedule for what he has scheduled ahead. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm going to show you people that God uniquely gifted, allowed training, expertise, and skills. Learn it to them. Watch this. Before they ever needed it. Sometimes decades ahead. I'm talking to some people where, where God bless you to get a skill, to get a training, to get expertise, to get mentorship. And God put it on hold until he needed it. You do not want to miss next week. You just do not want to miss next week. But until then, may the Lord of the harvest bless you, and may he bless you real good.